My son sold my house while I was in the hospital. I never saw him the same again. I always believed one thing about my son. No matter what happened in life, no matter how old I got, he would always be there for me. That's what parents believe, right? We spend our entire lives raising our children, working overtime, skipping vacations, saving every dollar we can, just so they can have a better life. But last winter, something happened that changed everything. While I was lying in a hospital bed, my son sold my house. And the worst part? I didn't even know. I only found out when a complete stranger knocked on my front door. I'm 72 years old now, but I still remember the day my son was born. I was standing outside the hospital room, nervous, pacing back and forth, when the nurse finally came out and said, "Congratulations, you have a healthy baby boy." I cried, not because I was scared, but because in that moment, I promised myself something. I promised that boy would never struggle the way I did growing up. You see, I didn't have much. I worked construction most of my life. Long days, cold winters, backbreaking work. But every paycheck I brought home, I spent on my family. And when my son was 5 years old, I bought the house. It wasn't big, just a small 2-bedroom home. But to me, it felt like a palace. That house held every memory of our lives. His first birthday party, his first day of school, the day he learned how to ride his bike in the driveway, and the night his mother passed away. After she died, it was just the two of us, and I raised him the best way I knew how. Or at least, I thought I did.
Last winter, I got sick. At first it felt like a normal cold, but within a few days, I could barely breathe. My son drove me to the hospital. I remember sitting in the passenger seat, watching the snow fall outside the window. Everything felt quiet, too quiet. At the hospital, the doctor ran some tests. A few hours later, he came back into the room. He looked serious. He said, "Sir, we need to keep you here for a while." My lungs were infected. They wanted to monitor me for a week. When my son heard that, he grabbed my shoulder and said, "Don't worry, Dad. I'll take care of everything." And in that moment, I believed him. During the week I stayed in the hospital, my son visited a few times, but something felt different. He always seemed in a hurry, checking his phone, answering calls outside the room. One day I asked him, "Everything okay?" He smiled and said, "Yeah, Dad, just work stuff." Then he said something strange. "Don't worry about the house. I'm handling everything." At the time, that sounded comforting. I thought he meant things like paying bills, shoveling the snow, taking care of the little things I couldn't do. I had no idea what he really meant. After 7 days, the doctors finally discharged me. I was tired, but happy to go home. Home, that word meant everything to me. My son said he was busy with work, so I took a taxi back. When we pulled into my street, something felt strange. There was a big moving truck outside my house. At first I thought maybe the neighbors were moving, but then I saw something that made my stomach drop. The strangers were carrying my couch out the front door. My couch. I slowly walked toward them and asked, "Excuse me, what are you doing?" The man looked confused. He said, "Sir, we're moving in." I laughed a little and said, "No, you're not. This is my house." The man's face went pale. He looked at the papers in his hand. Then he said words I will never forget. "Sir, we bought this house yesterday." My hands started shaking. I immediately called my son. No answer. I called again. Still nothing. 10 minutes later, my phone buzzed. A message from him. Just one line. "Dad, I needed the money." That was it. No explanation. No apology. Just those 5 words. I stood there on the sidewalk, watching strangers carry my memories out of the house I built with my own hands. And in that moment, something inside me broke. That night, I had nowhere to go. No house, no plan. So I did something I never thought I would do in my entire life. I slept in my car, a 72-year-old man, curled up in the back seat, in the freezing winter cold. And I kept asking myself the same question over and over. Where did I go wrong? They say parents sacrifice everything for their children. But sometimes, the people you give your whole life to are the same ones who take everything away. So if your parents are still alive, call them today. Visit them. Tell them you love them. Because one day, it might be too late. And by then, there's nothing left to fix. Before it ends.